A single flame burns inside an old Persian fire temple. The room is quiet, and the light from the fire reflects off the stone walls. This flame isn't meant to warm the room. It represents the structure of the universe, a universe that Zoroaster claimed was locked in a fight between truth and destruction. Most people today barely know his name, yet his ideas shaped how billions think about God, moral choice, angels, and the future of the world. Concepts that later appear in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. A final judgment, a coming savior, a cosmic enemy, and a world restored at the end of time all have early roots in his message. So here's the question that drives this episode. How did a fire-centered religion from ancient Iran become one of the hidden foundations of Western religious thought? Welcome back to Hidden Faith. It's great to have you here again. Every week we break down stories that shaped how people think about belief, power, and the big ideas that guide our world. Today we're looking at a religion many people have heard of, but rarely understand. Before we dive deeper, thanks for returning and being part of this series. Now let's get into the world Zoroaster tried to explain. Zoroastrianism introduced a set of ideas that feel familiar to anyone raised around Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. A single wise creator, a cosmic enemy, angels who assist in the struggle, a final judgment, resurrection, and a savior who will renew the world. These concepts didn't appear in a vacuum. They formed inside the worldview Zoroaster taught, a system built on moral responsibility and a universe divided between truth and deception. The challenge for historians is understanding how these ideas moved across cultures. Jews living under Persian rule during the Babylonian exile encountered them directly, and later traditions show patterns that look more like development than coincidence. But influence is not the same as direct borrowing, and the evidence is uneven. So the core question of this episode is simple. How much of Western religious thought can be traced back to Zoroaster's vision of order, struggle, and renewal, and what remains uncertain? To understand Zoroaster's message, we need to place him inside the world he lived in. The challenge is that we don't know his exact date. Scholars have suggested timelines ranging from around 1200 BCE to 600 BCE, depending on how they interpret linguistic evidence, archaeological clues, and references in later texts. The wide range shows how little direct information we have. Still, most scholars agree that he lived long before the rise of the Achaemenid Empire and delivered his teachings to small Iranian tribes spread across the eastern regions of the ancient Iranian plateau. Before Zoroaster appeared, the Iranian religious landscape was a mix of polytheistic practices, local deities, and rituals aimed at securing prosperity, protection, and good fortune. Many communities worshipped nature forces, performed animal sacrifices, and used ecstatic rituals to communicate with the divine. There was no single religious authority, and the worldview lacked a clear moral structure. The focus was survival, not cosmic ethics. Into this world came Zoroaster, a priest, a reformer, and a critic of the practices around him. According to tradition, he received a revelation from Ahura Mazda, the wise lord, who revealed that the universe was built on truth, order, and moral responsibility. Zoroaster argued that many older rituals had lost their purpose, and that people were following customs without understanding their ethical cost. His message was simple but disruptive. You must choose truth, and that choice shapes the future of the world. The earliest part of the Zoroastrian tradition, the Gathas, are hymns attributed directly to Zoroaster. They are written in an early form of the Iranian language family and focus on moral clarity, personal responsibility, and the struggle between truth and deception. These hymns are different from the later, more ritual-centered texts that appear centuries afterward, which is why scholars treat the religion as layered. The Gathas show a reforming prophet. The later texts show an organized religious institution expanding his ideas. Zoroaster's movement grew slowly. He faced resistance from local leaders who depended on older religious systems for social control. But over time, his message gained followers, especially among communities seeking a more ethical worldview and a clearer explanation for suffering, injustice, and the moral tension they felt in daily life. When the Persian empires later unified the region, Zoroastrian ideas gained a larger platform, but the roots of the religion began in these smaller, uncertain early environments, a world where one reformer tried to explain not only why people should act ethically, but how the universe itself depended on their choices. To understand why Zoroaster's ideas spread so widely, we need to look at the core structure of his theology. At its center is Ahura Mazda, the wise lord. Unlike the many gods of older Iranian religions, Ahura Mazda is presented as the source of truth, wisdom, and moral order. He is not one power among many. He is the foundation of everything that is good, rational, and upright. Opposing Ahura Mazda is Angra Mainyu, the destructive spirit. This is not a rival god with equal strength, but a being defined by negation, by choosing deception, disorder, and harm. Zoroaster described the universe as a battleground, shaped by the decisions of these two spirits, and by the choices made by humans who align with one or the other. This dualism is ethical, not metaphysical. Good and evil are real options, not illusions. At the center of this worldview is Asha, a word usually translated as truth, order, or right action. Asha represents the natural and moral structure of the universe. When a person tells the truth, respects justice, or performs a duty with integrity, they strengthen Asha. The opposite of Asha is Druj, the lie. Druj is not just untruthful speech, it is the force that pulls reality toward chaos. Every dishonest act, every destructive choice, and every unjust action strengthens Druj. This idea made Zoroaster's message different from other religions of his time. Instead of focusing on rituals that appeased multiple gods, he argued that the main purpose of religion was to choose truth and support the order of the universe. In this system, morality is not symbolic or optional. It is the mechanism that keeps creation functioning. One of the most recognizable aspects of Zoroastrian practice is the role of fire. Fire is not worshipped as a deity. Instead, it represents clarity, purity, and the presence of Asha. Fire burns without corruption, and its light reveals what is real. This made it a natural symbol for truth and ethical focus. In temples, priests maintain a fire that burns continuously. The fire does not grant miracles or blessings. It acts as a reminder of the responsibility to act truthfully in every situation. Zoroaster also introduced a structured understanding of spiritual beings. The Ameshaspentas, often called holy immortals, are aspects of Ahura Mazda's creative power. They represent ideas like good mind, truth, devotion, and moral strength. They function less like anthropomorphic angels and more like guiding principles that help shape human behavior. Later tradition also included other divine beings called Yaztas, who support creation and uphold Asha. The key to understanding this theology is recognizing how practical it is. Zoroaster did not describe a world where people were passive subjects of divine forces. He taught that every moral choice shifts the balance between truth and deception. A farmer telling the truth in a dispute supports Asha. A leader acting unjustly strengthens Druj. The cosmic conflict unfolds through human decisions, not distant myths. These ideas created a framework that later religions found familiar. A single supreme deity, a moral enemy, spiritual helpers, and a universe shaped by ethical choices. But Zoroaster's version is older and more focused on personal responsibility than many people expect. It offered a clear map for understanding why the world contains both good and evil, and what humans must do to move it toward order. Zoroastrian theology was built on clear ethical choices, but the religion also developed a detailed set of rituals that shaped daily life. These practices were not random traditions. They were designed to protect Asha, the principle of truth and order, and prevent the spread of Druj, the force of deception and decay. At the center of ritual life is the fire temple. Each temple maintains a sacred fire that burns continuously. Priests tend this flame through strict procedures meant to keep it free from pollution. Fire is a symbol of clarity and moral integrity, so the rules around it are direct and practical. Only trained priests can approach it closely, and they must perform cleansing steps such as washing hands, wearing clean garments, and avoiding anything that could contaminate the flame. This discipline reinforces the belief that truth and purity require active maintenance. The most important ritual is the yasna, a daily liturgy performed by priests. It includes recitations from the Gathas and other sacred texts, along with offerings of water, milk, and incense. The purpose of the yasna is not to request favors from a deity. Instead, it realigns the world with Asha by affirming truth, responsibility, and order. Everything spoken during this ritual must be pronounced correctly. The idea is simple. If truth matters, accuracy matters. Another key element of Zoroastrian practice is its purity system. Purity is not symbolic. It is treated as a real condition that affects the physical and spiritual world. Actions such as washing, trimming nails, cleaning spaces, and avoiding contamination are all part of maintaining moral clarity. This system might seem strict, but it reflects Zoroaster's belief that ethical behavior begins with disciplined habits. Truthful action grows from a truthful environment. One of the most debated practices is the sky burial, performed in structures called towers of silence. Instead of burying or burning the dead, Zoroastrians place the body on a raised platform to be exposed to sunlight and consumed by birds. The logic behind this practice is straightforward. A corpse is considered a source of Druj because decay threatens purity. Fire and earth must not be contaminated with death, so the body is given back to nature in a controlled and clean way. Although this method can seem unfamiliar today, historically it was seen as a responsible and ethical choice. The priesthood, known as the Magi in Greek sources, plays a central role in maintaining these systems. Their job is not only to perform rituals, but also to teach ethical behavior, preserve accuracy in recitation, and protect the community from impurity. They act as custodians of both spiritual knowledge and daily order. Through these rituals, Zoroastrianism creates a practical framework. Truth must be acted out, maintained, and protected. Rituals are not separate from ethics. They are tools that keep the world aligned with Asha. Zoroastrianism is often remembered for its fire temples, but its deeper influence comes from the way it explains the structure and future of the universe. These doctrines shaped how later religions imagined angels, saviors, resurrection, and the end of time. To see why, we need to break down the system step by step. At the top of the cosmic hierarchy is Ahura Mazda, the Wise Lord. Below him are the Amisha Spentas, 7 spiritual beings who represent the core values of creation: good mind, truth, devotion, wise rule, wholeness, and immortality. These are not distant gods. They function more like guiding forces that influence how people think and act. Supporting them are the Yazatas, divine beings who protect different aspects of the world, such as water, fire, the sun, and justice. Together, these beings create a structured universe where everything has a clear moral purpose. What makes this system striking is how familiar it feels. The idea of organized spiritual beings who carry out specific tasks strongly resembles later angelology in Judaism and Christianity. But Zoroastrianism built this structure centuries earlier. The resemblance does not mean direct copying, but it shows how influential the Persian worldview became as ideas moved across cultures. The heart of Zoroastrian cosmic teaching is the conflict between Asha, truth and order, and Druj, deception and chaos. This conflict is not a metaphor. It is the driving force behind the fate of the world. Humans are not bystanders. Every moral decision contributes to one side or the other. This idea creates a universe where ethical choices have real consequences, not only for individuals, but for the entire future of creation. One of the most significant teachings is the idea of a savior figure, the Saoshyant. According to Zoroastrian doctrine, a future leader will appear at the end of time to defeat Angra Mainyu and restore the world. The Saoshyant is not a warrior in the mythic sense. He is a restorer who completes the work of creation by bringing truth to its final victory. This figure strongly resembles later concepts of a messiah, and scholars often highlight this as one of the clearest examples of Persian influence on the region's religious imagination. Related to the Saoshyant is the belief in resurrection. At the end of time, the dead will rise, and all people will undergo judgment. Their actions, truthful or deceptive, will determine their experience in the final purification. But unlike some later traditions, Zoroastrian eschatology ends on a positive outcome. After judgment, the world does not remain divided. Instead, creation is renewed in a process called Frashokereti, meaning the final restoration. Evil is eliminated, the universe becomes perfect, and all beings exist in harmony with Asha. This optimistic ending sets Zoroastrianism apart. The world does not decline into permanent destruction. It moves toward repair. Humanity plays a direct role in that future through daily ethical choices, reinforcing the belief that morality is not symbolic. It is the mechanism that decides the outcome of cosmic history. These doctrines created a structured, future-focused worldview that shaped how later cultures imagined spiritual beings, moral struggle, and the end of days. Even if we cannot trace every idea directly, the parallels show that Zoroaster's vision of the universe left a lasting imprint on how people across several religions understand hope, judgment, and renewal. Zoroastrian ideas did not stay within small tribal communities. They moved across empires, reshaped political systems, and influenced cultures that later produced Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. To understand this process, we need to follow how these ideas traveled through history. The first major turning point was the rise of the Achaemenid Empire in the 6th century BCE. Under rulers like Cyrus the Great and Darius I, Persia became one of the largest empires in the ancient world. Although the exact level of official Zoroastrianism in this period is debated, inscriptions and administrative practices show clear influence from Zoroaster's concepts: truthfulness as a political value, moral responsibility for rulers, and a universe governed by a wise creator. The empire did not force a single religious system on its subjects, but its leadership carried ethical themes seen in Zoroastrian teaching. During this period, an important cultural exchange took place. When the Babylonians captured the Jewish population, Persia later conquered Babylon and placed the Jews under Persian rule. This meant Jewish communities lived in direct contact with Persian religion for decades. Ideas such as angels, a cosmic opponent, the resurrection of the dead, and a final judgment became more prominent in Jewish writings after this period. The connection does not prove direct borrowing, but the timing is clear. Both groups shared space, language, and political structures, creating opportunities for religious ideas to move. In the Hellenistic period, after Alexander the Great conquered Persia, Greek writers documented the practices of the Zoroastrian priesthood, known as the Magi. Greek philosophers were interested in Persian ideas, especially the moral structure of the universe and the concept of dual forces. Some Greek schools later incorporated these ideas into their discussions of ethics and cosmic order. Again, this is not strict adoption, but cultural blending. The next phase of influence came during the Sasanian Empire, 3rd–7th centuries CE, when Zoroastrianism became a formal state religion. During this time, priests organized, standardized, and expanded the religious texts. They also interacted with early Christian and Jewish communities living under Persian rule. Debates between these groups shaped how each tradition defended its doctrines, especially around free will, the problem of evil, and the final judgment. After the Islamic conquest of Persia, Zoroastrian communities survived but became smaller. Even so, some elements of their thought entered Islamic scholarship through translation movements and cultural exchange. When we step back, a pattern becomes clear. Zoroastrianism did not spread through forced conversion. It spread through proximity, political influence, shared administration, and intellectual exchange. Its ideas traveled because they offered clear answers to universal questions about good, evil, justice, and the fate of the world. When we look at Zoroastrianism today, it's easy to see it as an old and distant religion, limited to small communities in Iran and India. But many of its core ideas continue to influence how millions of people think about morality, spiritual conflict, and the final meaning of human life. The religion's scale may have shrunk, but its impact remains visible. The most important echo is the idea that the world is shaped by a real struggle between good and evil. This concept appears in many modern belief systems, often framed as a battle between moral truth and destructive behavior. Zoroastrianism treated this struggle as practical and personal, not symbolic. That perspective still resonates with people trying to make sense of injustice, corruption, and the pressure to act ethically in daily life. Another major legacy is the belief in spiritual beings who support the moral order. The structured system of Amesha Spentas and Yazatas shaped how later traditions imagined angels, archangels, and protective forces. Even outside religion, the idea of unseen helpers or guiding principles shows up in everyday thinking and cultural storytelling. The expectation of a future savior, someone who will repair the world, is also common in modern belief traditions. Whether described as a messiah, a redeemer, or a moral leader, the hope for renewal traces back to the Zoroastrian concept of the Saoshyant. The same is true for the idea of a final judgment, where people account for their choices and the world moves toward a better state. These echoes raise an important question. Did Zoroastrian ethics prepare the ground for later monotheistic religions? Historians avoid simple answers, but the pattern is clear. Zoroastrianism offered a structured way to think about justice, responsibility, and the future. It showed how human choices could influence the fate of the world. These ideas did not disappear. They became part of the mental framework that shaped Judaism during the Persian period and eventually influenced Christian and Islamic thought. In this sense, Zoroaster's teachings still live in the ideas billions take for granted today. Even after thousands of years, Zoroaster remains a challenging figure to place in history. We don't know his exact dates, the details of his life, or how large his movement was during his lifetime. The sources we rely on, the Gathas and the later Pahlavi texts, come from different periods written under different conditions and shaped by communities with evolving needs. This makes it difficult to separate the earliest teachings from later editions. Another unresolved issue is influence. Scholars can map cultural contact between Persians, Jews, Greeks, and later Islamic writers, but influence is not a simple chain. Some ideas may have moved through shared administration, while others may have appeared independently. We can identify similarities, but we cannot always prove direct borrowing. There is also the question of how much of Zoroaster's original message survives today. The organized forms of Zoroastrianism that developed under the Sasanian Empire likely expanded, reinterpreted, and sometimes redirected his teachings. What we read now is a layered tradition, not a single voice, yet the biggest open question remains this: how did a small religious movement from ancient Iran leave such a deep mark on global ideas about God, morality, and the future of the world? That mystery continues to push historians to dig deeper. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like and subscribe to support the channel. Hidden Faith grows through your feedback, so let me know in the comments which ancient tradition or forgotten belief you want me to cover next. Your suggestions help shape upcoming episodes, and I always read what you send. Thanks for being part of this series. Thanks for watching Hidden Faith. There are many more stories that shaped how we see the world, and we'll uncover them one by one. Stay curious, stay thoughtful, and I'll see you in the next episode.